Number 11, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. This was just an absolute mess. It's like 5 different movies thrown into one. Rey must find a MacGuffin that leads to another MacGuffin, then she finds a dagger, which will lead to another MacGuffin. My brain hurts just thinking about every plot point in this disaster of a movie. I died laughing when I saw that Palpatine literally created Snoke in a test tube. So dumb. Now, the idea of having Palpatine come back, most would consider it a hit or miss. But it definitely deflates Vader's sacrifice. But again, with how The Last Jedi ended, they kind of wrote themselves in a corner. And Rey is a Palpatine? The fuck are we doing here? Number 10, Solo. I actually really enjoyed this film. It does have its great moments. But this production was a mess, suffering a major production disaster after firing original directors Lord and Miller, which led to massive reshoots by Ron Howard, ballooning the budget to over $275 million. I don't know if this is true, but Alan Etrich, I think I'm saying his name right, was so bad they had to get an acting coach. Donald Glover and Woody Harrelson are great in this. Overall, the CG is great, and we get a cool Darth Maul cameo. And Lando fucks a political activist robot. Number 9, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It's been a while since I've seen this film, but I do think out of all the prequels, this is the weakest one out of the 3. Back then, I thought Yoda using a lightsaber was awesome, but now it just seems silly. I hate Anakin's little rat tail, and hearing him talk about sand just makes me want to punch myself in the face. I really don't have much to say about this one. There are moments in this, but overall this film is just kind of a big wet fart, in my opinion. The only thing I do enjoy is the space battles, the Jango Obi-Wan fight scene, and also the third act where Sam Jackson cuts Jango's head off. And also you got like 30 Jedis. But that's about it, really. Also, why use a slug to kill Padme? Just kind of seems like a shit plan. Number 8, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. When this came out in 1999, I was so excited for this. And I remember after seeing it, I loved it. But now that I'm older, I can definitely see the problems with it. Obviously, the pod racing scenes were ahead of its time, and the Duel of the Fates fight scene and the score is just still as iconic. I do feel bad for Jake Lloyd, who played Little Annie. After the film came out, he was bullied nonstop. Which I gotta say, the kid was in a Star Wars film. Honestly, fuck those kids. He should have been the coolest kid in school. But sadly, he suffers from schizophrenia, has had multiple run-ins with the law, and back in 2023, he was hospitalized after having a psychotic break. But luckily, in 2025, he has been working on his mental health and is focusing on his treatment and recovery. Oh, and I cannot forget the Jedi's super speed run. Why don't they do that anymore? Number 7, Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Even though this is basically a rehash of A New Hope, Lucasfilm made sure to click all the boxes when it came to rebooting the Star Wars franchise. Adam Driver as Kylo Ren is one of my favorites. The first scene where he holds like a blaster beam with the Force I thought was awesome. I mean, Rey is basically a carbon copy of Luke, and most of the fan base thinks she's a Mary Sue. I can see it, but much like Luke, he literally had zero training and became a Jedi Master, so it kind of goes with the lore of Star Wars in some capacity. But I gotta say, the CGI is top notch, and as the movies and TV shows go on, they get better and better. Also, having Han Solo come back was really cool to see. They must have paid him a lot of money to have him reprise his role. Number 6, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Out of all the prequels, this is the best one. I do think we rushed a little bit to get Anakin to become Darth Vader, but that's why we got the Clone Wars series. The buddy cop dynamic between Obi-Wan and Anakin is a lot better in this movie. Palpatine is great in this, where his skin looks like a cold nutsack. There are a lot of great sequences here and there, but I think everyone can agree that the best aspect of this film is the last fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin / Yoda and Palpatine. But the thing that ruins this trilogy is the love story with Padme and Anakin. Listen, I get it. They must fall in love to connect the original trilogy, but George Lucas cannot write dialogue to save his fucking life. And I gotta say, a lot of it is incredibly unbearable. Number 5, Episode 4, A New Hope. This 1977 film is what changed movies forever, from the title crawl to the Star Destroyer flying over the audience with the amazing sound design. You're probably saying to yourself, well, if it's so iconic, why isn't it higher on your list? Well, after all these years, I just feel like this film kind of drags compared to the other ones. But in my defense, I cannot tell you how many times I have watched this film, and I do still love it. If you watch the original versions, the visual effects are still great. but I grew up with the newer editions, which I think at my age made it a little bit more bombastic and energetic. And I gotta say, the introduction of Darth Vader is still considered one of the greatest villains ever put on screen. Number 4, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Now, I know this film is very decisive, but in my opinion, I think this is the first time Star Wars actually took a chance at doing something different. The storyline of the fall of Luke Skywalker was such an interesting concept. The guy who was considered the beacon of hope had everything taken from him by his nephew, which made him lose hope in the Force and himself. Obviously, there are things I did not like about it. Them deciding to kill off Luke, but having Leia fly through space and survive, I think was pretty dumb. And the one thing I wish they did was have the ending of the film be Rey taking Kylo's hand and becoming the new rulers of the Republic, where the next film could have had Poe and Finn trying to rescue Rey and bring her back to the rebellion, ending the film with Rey and Kylo battling to the death, mirroring how Episode 3 ended. Number 3, Rogue One. The more I watch this film, the more I love it. Obviously, if we never got this film, we would never gotten the amazing Disney Plus series Andor. Now, I am not a fan of having Peter Cushing's corpse being brought back for this film. They should have just, had him as a hologram, which would have been a lot better visually. Alan Tudyk as K2SO was the absolute highlight of the film. I mean, the idea of using the concept from the beginning of Episode 4 and expanding it, I think was really creative. And you got this star-studded cast, the CG is top-notch, and that sequence where we see the Death Star blow up the city was awesome. Number 2, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This is gonna sound so stupid, but the reason why I love this movie so much was because my favorite color is green, and seeing Luke's new lightsaber as a kid was one of my favorite parts of this entire film. I know one of the things that turns people off about this film is the Ewoks. I mean, the Ewoks are alright. As a kid, I didn't mind them. It was a little funny George Lucas used these little fuzzy teddy bears to make a statement about the Viet Cong and the Empire being the US, but whatever. But I love the original version so much better because we don't have this. But I gotta say, the speedster scene in the forest and the space battles at the end is so fucking amazing. I mean, even back then, the visual effects were so ahead of its time. On top of that, you got Luke and Vader's lightsaber battle with Palpatine sitting in his throne looking like a ball sack that just jumped into cold water. I mean, just the way they end this whole trilogy, just in a nice little bow. But every time I see the end of this movie and we see Hayden Christensen at the end, just always kills me. And last but not least, number 1, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I think most people will agree that this one is by far the most iconic Star Wars film. I mean, you got the planet Hoth with the AT-ATs stomping towards the rebellion base, Luke getting attacked by a Wampa, the introduction of Lando, the quick cameo of Boba Fett, which made him so iconic to this day, Han Solo being frozen in carbonite, and saying the iconic line he came up with on the day of filming.
I love you.
I know.
Then you got Luke beginning his Jedi training with the introduction of Yoda, learning to harness the Force, only to run and go and have that epic fight with Vader. Plus, you have the biggest surprise in all of movie history.
No, I am your father.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This movie is just amazing and is just as iconic today.
I'm